The electricity company surprised us tonight.
Oh no, no
Yeah,
power.
no power.
Ooh,
Yeah, it
ouch.
happens.
Okay. All right. So let's get into this. I'm kind of thinking, um, this is the end of I think our 7th week or something like that. And we're kind of reaching a point where we need to start thinking through a couple of design decisions, implementation decisions, kind of clean up a few things here and there. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking, why don't we take a couple of weeks off? We've been doing this 3 days a week, every week. Um, Switch this to a month view. And adding into that, I got the course I'm putting together. I'll be honest, that's part of it. Right. If I can have a weekend or two with most of my time clear, that helps a lot. Okay. So what I'm thinking is maybe either the week of the 8th or the week of the 15th, that I'll start a push to kind of restart this as a phase 2. We've got a lot of code in place. We're ready to start moving to the next phase. Maybe if we can get you guys to jump in, we do the whole thing again. We clear the list of names. I'll store that data so I have it, and we'll just start fresh. Thoughts? I mean, you guys have been just as involved as I have.
Except for me.
Okay.
I must apologize. Yeah, I have a lot on my plate, but I
It's
try as
okay.
much as possible to join in the sessions. Hopefully, I
I
would use it. I'm hoping to
understand.
use it. Yeah, to catch up. So yeah,
Okay.
welcome your vote. Thank you.
All right. Dylan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I could use a bit of
Okay.
time off this, I guess. Feels like there's not enough time in the day sometimes.
Well, and the other thing I have to look at too is I've got Star Trek coming up on the 5th of May, and there's stuff that's pulling my time. Um, there's going to be a whole week in there, I know, in May, June, where I've got conferences at the beginning of the week. We've got Memorial Day that week. I've got another conference out of town at the end of that week. So there's going to be a whole week off in there as well. So why don't we do that? Why don't we take a couple weeks? I'll try and figure out how to send an email to the whole larger group, and let everybody know what we're looking at. So looking at the board, we've got the wire up and the basic banner are in review. And I was just starting to glance at those. And, at some point, we got to get the back end in before we fully wire up back end tests. Dylan, if you happen to work on that in between, not a big deal. If you want something to fill some time, if not, no big deal. We'll pick it up when we get there. Let's take a look at where our PRs are, because I think yours is pretty close to ready. Just needs some minor adjustment. So I went in and took a quick peek at that before we started here, and you've got your 2 approvals. I've approved it too. I mean, I've looked at it. You've seen all my little stuff comments. And then and then the last thing to push up was a get ignore issue there. And then we're out of sync with the base branch. And this is an easy one. I'm, good one to show you guys kind of what I do. So I'm on that branch. I've got the code. I just pulled it a few minutes ago. The VS Code's here. So let's open a terminal up. And this is going to do better with that on the right. So we're going to do a get. So it lets me type. There we go. Merge main. Oh, good. And we need a message. And okay, well, it was able to merge it with the org strategy, no issues at all. That's easy. So then we come over here and give it a second, and they'll say, hey, you got 8 changes to push. So an automatic merge. Probably could have done that on their website, but we do have to wait for the unit test to pass. That'll take about 2 minutes. Okay. And then that's mergeable. And then, so Dylan, if you want to wait on that one, push it whenever it's then, when it's there and ready, just kind of let me know. And then the basic banner one is ready to go. I'm not going to push it now. I'm going to wait for yours, and then we'll merge yours into this one, which might take a little more work.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll merge it in when it's ready.
Yeah, and then we'll have a full set of code, one clean branch, ready to do whatever it is we want to do from there. You know, we've got color scheme stuff in place. We've got dark mode, light mode, and it remembers. I'm not 100% sure the login, logout's working. But then again, the login, logout was working from the back end without being wired to the front. Well, I don't have all the back end code, so it's hard to test, right? So until we get all that in, we really can't see exactly where it's at. It'd be good to have that in mind as we get there. So, oh, that's what I was looking for. Let's come back up here, see where we are on pipeline. So it's running, been running for almost a minute 20, so it'll be done anytime now. In fact, it's done.
Yep, just finished.
It took me that long to get there. All right, so you're going to go ahead and merge that one in.
Says you
Merging
still have some
I have a
review
change.
somewhere.
I'm requesting a change. Okay. Sometimes it's not right up here, I've noticed. So let me come over here and approve. See if that changes it. There you go. Try that now.
Yep.
I've noticed sometimes the list of names of people that have approved and haven't approved is sometimes completely off. All right, so that's merged in. Usually takes a second or two for it all to cycle around to up weird warnings and messages. So here, conflicts, get ignore, backend stuff. All right, so I'm going to switch branches on my side. The basic banner, we do a quick fetch. And we do the same thing. We do the get merge. Let's hit the enter key. There we go. So we see that the branch changed. We have a conflict on get ignore and a conflict on backend index. Good. I don't think it matters if that's there or not there. Easy. And the backend index.js says there's a, oh, it's a big one. So this is a good thing you were here, Dylan, because it looks like we want both. Or did we move the
Yeah, we
register?
moved that to the
That's all that moved out?
Yep. In the routes folder now, the index.routes.
Yeah. So in this case, we want the incoming changes. And click that, and that's done. Then my tool should pop up and say, hey, look, it's all done. Continue merge. Push to origin. And the same kind of thing is going to happen. It's going to pop through here and say, hey, we got to check some things. And then we can follow that in. And hey, look at that. We're watching it. Should have done that with yours. Oh. Starting with tests. I can move them really fast. I say that and it stops, right? Oh, probably get the attendance like that.
I think this is my favorite part, just watching it run all the tests. Yes.
It's always fun to do. Yeah. So we passed. Go back. Give that a few seconds. And there we go. We're all ready to go. No conflicts, and we can merge that in. And now we have 2 cards we can close out on our board. And we have no pull requests. Okay. Away from there. And I'm going to move mine. You can move yours to done. I'm not going to move it there for you. So, now's the point where we should be able to just kind of test where we're at. Right. Let me switch over to the main branch. So I'm looking at the full set of code. Yeah, we don't need that open anymore. So we need to spin up our backend. Oh, I'm in front end. And this is npm and yeah, right?
I think so, yep.
And yeah, we broke it. Secret key, something in.
Oh, you need a to edit the .env file.
Okay,
Um,
what besides, and let me move that off the screen so I don't open that
Mm.
there. I have the API port and the database URL.
okay.
Send it on chat.
Yeah, I can send it in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I have in
Yeah, just copy
mine.
paste your whole .env. It's in the root of the project, right?
Yep.
Just making sure.
I'll just copy the file.
Yeah, you can send a whole file here. I just have to make sure I don't open it on screen. That's all.
Yep. All right, I sent it through.
Finder. That's weird. You did, I believe you.
I could send the text
Okay.
in the chat too, if that would.
I think that's going to be easier because it's telling me click to open. I see that it's 174 bytes. I tried to show in Finder, it's showing my movies, which is not right.
Gotcha.
Oh, you got all. Oh, okay.
Yes, you need
So
the.
I use the database URL string. You built it up separately. Okay, that works. So the .env file is now saved. So we can rerun that. Oh, it's an interesting error now.
Oh,
It's different. It's
yeah.
a different error. Access denied for Bob-Fornell. Bob-Fornell.
I think I had that error before. Let me. I definitely had that error before. Where's
I
that?
don't have anything coded with my name in it, I don't think.
Right.
Because the user is all there. Hang on. I did a global search and Bob Fornell is nowhere in my.
Right.
Oh, there we go. I'll blur that later. Sorry. So why is Sequelize?
Hmm.
So let's see, I don't even think we're getting to this point, right?
Right. I think so the problem I think is in the model folder in the index.js where it sets up the database. Because I've had this problem when I set it up originally. So I think it's going into here and then is giving like a bad error, like access denied or something.
Okay, so config is coming from the config database. Host user password database. And it's pulling out of the .env, right?
Right.
So is this working on yours?
Let me
Right now?
check. Are you on the main branch right now still?
I am on the main branch. Yes.
Okay, let me pull that down really quickly.
Hang on 1 second. I'm going to mute out my wife's phone. Okay, so what are our thoughts here? Do I need to
Let me see.
yeah, I was gonna say with that set, are you getting the same error when you spin up over me?
I have to add back my .env file and then I will check. All right, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting any errors on my end.
Huh.
Did you npm install in the branch? Maybe the .env library isn't loaded in.
Probably is, but not a bad idea. Yeah, I can type.
Yeah.
I don't get where the Bob formal's coming from though. It's not hard coded in anywhere that I can find.
Yeah, it takes, I don't know how it works, but it does take it from the user because it did that for me too.
So you
Just
think
put it.
that the user that we have in the .env is coded?
No, I don't think so. Hmm.
So then, all right, well, I'm really confused now because if you're spinning up and I'm not, something weird's going on.
Right.
Because we got the same code base. And I'm not seeing any activity.
Hmm.
I mean, and from what I'm seeing, it almost doesn't look like it's even trying to go out to the internet.
Right.
Because this should have at least shown the rejection activity. Oh, usage as of an hour ago. So it's updated hourly, so we wouldn't see immediate.
Hmm.
And that's up to 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's really
They all
weird
run
because
an index.js. So okay, so let's trace through what's going on. This is index.
so when I had this error before,
Mhm.
it turned out that in my .env, I'd
Yep.
used username as the key, and that was like
But I
I
literally just
yeah, I know you copied it, but maybe it's
pasted-
different from Windows to Mac. I'm not sure, but
I literally pasted it on top. Oh, I see the difference. You've got colons. They're normally equals in a .env. I bet that's what's going on. I don't know where the Bob portal came from. Right, so let me save that. Exact same error with the .env rewritten.
okay.
Yes, that's got a space in it. Shouldn't. All right, so let's take this out then, and we close that out. I don't disagree with you that
Right.
something weird's going on here. I mean, that's not coded anywhere into my code, so I don't know where that's coming from. Other than I think that might be my account name. No, it's not even in there. It's not, it has nothing to do with that. So he's manually coded it in. Which, I mean, I suppose I could change it to a manual code and see if it makes a difference, at least initially.
Mhm.
Password was incorrect, but if yours is working, it's not an incorrect password,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's how it's reading it in. So if
Yeah,
I
I
come
think
in
it's not
here,
reading it in.
yeah,
Maybe we could try console logging, config.db.user.password. Yeah, off the screen, of course, but off the recording those.
here, let me rework this slightly. Yeah, I'm going to stop this so we're not accidentally running it. And that, no, equals. And that should rebuild that object. In theory, and I'm going to run that off screen. Whoa, jumped past it pretty quick. All right, looks odd already. So I'm looking at the .env.
Mhm.
DB is right, database. User is this thing. Password is right.
Hmm.
Host is right. But the user is that big thing converted into something else. So I wonder if it is doing some level of conversion over here. The wrong place. This is the database I need. Need to set up a new connection. Let's try a new connection.
Mhm.
The password setting page. There's a new one. I'll call it dev2 on branch main roles. Right. And here's the user. Put that into my. Well, that's interesting. What I wanted to do. Hang on. Trying to do it without putting it on the shared screen. Okay. Copy. Paste. Password. Copy. Paste. That is different. Database is, user is, host is, password. Should be all the data I need. Save. And you rerun it with that off the screen. The same error. It's
It was working for you when we were on branch 27, right?
yeah. We'll try one more thing here real quick. It's. I'm wondering if something's changing the user somewhere along the way.
Hmm.
And that's going to be inside quotes. Got it. Well, son of a gun. For some reason, it brought the user in as Bob Dash Fornal, even though
Yeah,
it wasn't the right user.
it was yeah, I guess it's
So where else is config maybe used?
I think it's a .env thing because it was doing the same thing to me, but for a slightly different name in the env file.
Yeah, but that Bob Dash Fornal is nowhere in my .envs.
Right, I think, well, it also grabs my like username for Windows when I
Could
had
be.
errors, so I don't
Yeah.
know. It's really weird.
So maybe I changed mine to username instead of user. That's got it. That fixed it. I switched to username instead of user. And changed that in my .env.
Oh, okay. So on
And I'm showing it off here in the terminal. Oh well,
yeah,
I can blur that.
okay.
I guess I want to blur it in two places before I
That's
push this one up.
so that's weird because on Windows, it's the exact opposite where username doesn't work, but user works. So I guess we'll need to find like, we'll need to call like DB user or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
DB username or something like that would be fun.
Yeah. That's weird.
Just like that would be fine. And then we'll move that off. I'll change my env. In fact, we might want to prefix all of those because we might end up using them somewhere else. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah.
database, DB username, DB host, DB password. And then,
That makes sense.
so with that changed, I can show this because that'll be DB username, DB password, DB database. What did I get wrong? I must have named one of them wrong. Oh, it's not database. Username, host, and password get the DB. There we go.
Hey.
Now we're connected. And with the back end connected, we now can do a new terminal. So yeah, this video is going to need a little more work than previous ones. All right, it's way over here now. Put some of these out because we don't need this anymore. Let's bring this back over here. Look what I did to my, that was me. Oh, we are getting data. I can tell you right now, this was not. Hang on, I just want to pull this over a little bit so I can access it if we need it. This was not pulling before I had yours. The older version wasn't working right, but our header's gone. Our full header's gone. Oh, I wonder if
Oh, we
I
didn't
merged. It merged to me, but I don't know if I fetched the latest version. Yep, I'm missing 11.
Oh.
So it's rebuilding. This is all front end code, I almost guarantee is what's missing. But it breaks things, okay. Sometimes when you do that, you gotta recompile.
Lots of red.
Well, that's red. Yeah, not a good idea to pull while you're running in watch mode. I mean, it is theoretically possible something's broken, but I doubt it. There we go.
Hey.
And we got a header. Now, if I log in, I don't even know if I have a login. We'll find out.
You do not.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
Nope. Yeah, it popped an error message just before it dropped out.
The route's definitely different. The name of the route.
Let's go look at the routes. So let's look at the routes. Let's look at the routes. We got a little bit of time. Core. It's gonna be in here. And all right, so what do we need to fix?
/API/route for login, logout, and registration.
Like this?
Whoops, /auth. Although I forgot
log in, log out, and register.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, that can be changed too. I mean, I don't know what we're thinking of.
Not worried about it. So now it's reloaded. So if I register myself, so that should have submitted it. Now, the one thing is if it fails, it should, I need to fix things. So if it fails, we shouldn't just get an error message real quick. We're logged in.
Sweet.
Did log out?
Yes.
Somewhere in there, we ought to say you're logged in, but the fact that it says logged out, log out means we successfully got logged in.
Nice.
So how hard would that be to do? Let's take a quick peek at a couple of things. So backend we're okay on at the moment. And oh yeah, it is header. So when we're logged in the header component, we have the is logged in, the logged in user. And that's what we're actually using to tell us if we're logged in or not. But when we show log out, which means they are logged in, we could theoretically do something like this. Oops. And that was logged in user. What username? That's probably going to log me out. I'm not real good at remembering that. That's okay. There.
Oh, nice.
So if I click that again, that should be triggering the back end. So something didn't work right there. Let's see, did we get any errors? We did. 401 unauthorized.
Oh, we don't have
Oh, we're not
we're
adding
not
the
sending
token.
the token. Yeah.
So we got logged in, we don't have the token, we can't get logged out. Okay. Here's an easy way, because we're not holding it between sessions, right?
Mhm.
We're not stashing it anywhere at the moment. So when we log in, what I want to see is, let's go look at our network real quick, clear that. I don't care if somebody sees that password, it doesn't matter. It's not going to live very long. So past the login, there's the pre-flight. Don't care about that. This is what came back in. Payload and header. I don't have a token.
It's in the token. Oh,
There's the token. It's in the preview. So
interesting.
it's there. So it's a success true and the payload that came back. We also returned the user info. I guess that's okay.
Yeah,
But it is the token we need more than anything else. So
right.
so my thought is we're on login. This is where we got to get a little creative. So it's the login component. So here's where there's a couple things we didn't do. So if we failed, if there was a login error, we don't want to close, right?
Mhm.
Which then keeps us in the application, right? But if it is successful, we need to store the token. So then this.api store token, right? Oh, but success is a Boolean.
Mhm.
I think something's wrong there. Let's clean this up a little bit. So we send it. Username, password. Why are we? Oh, because it's shorter. And let's just comment these out at the moment and console log success. So we log in. Which stopped it. We got to 200, came back. And in the console, that's a weird error. It did. It only got true coming back. Okay, so what that tells me is the piece we need isn't here. Yeah. So this is okay. I think that pattern's okay,
Mhm.
except what we need to do is we don't need to do the store token there. We need to say if success is true, we want to close. Otherwise, we stay open. What that tells me is that's in the API send login. It's already in the API header service where we've got the response at that point. We set the logged in user. And this is where we have to do a little bit of conditional too. So we say if response dot status is true, then we set the logged in user and we need to stash our login information. And we could just send it the response because that'll have the username. We have the username from the original data that came in. The username should be on the response, right?
Yes, it should be.
All right, so let's do this. We're going to create this store information. So initially, we'll just console log it. Right? Oh, I didn't say. There we go. Keep hitting the control key by accident tonight. So we log in. That's weird. So login complete, but it didn't console anything.
Oh, it's response dot success. This one?
Probably. Yeah, it's what we're returning down here. You're right. But either one will help us here.
Right.
Okay, so we got the token. So we have the username. So it's going to be data.user.username and token are the two pieces we need to keep. We need to store. So we'll do a local storage, set item. And then the other piece becomes when we log out.
Hmm.
So we should have something similar to that clears those two keys. What's it not liking here? Yeah, we can fix them. So now we're putting it into local storage, we're pulling it out. So on the load of the application, we need to look at local storage and say, do we have a username and a token?
Mhm.
Do
Gotcha.
we have a lifespan of that token?
Yeah, I forgot what I set it to. I think I set it to a day
Okay,
right
so
now. Yeah,
do we have a way to
change it.
ping to see if we're logged in?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Or is it, maybe that's what yeah, so hang on, let's figure out where we do that first.
Right.
So we don't want to do it on the login modal, but we can do it in the header. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So let's move this functionality. Let's just kind of clean up here
Mhm.
just a little bit. Put that down here. And we need to ping login verification. So what's going to happen here is we need to go to see if we have a token. Right?
Mhm.
So local storage, get item, token. If token null, be sure it returns null if nothing's there. Bail out. Right. So at this point, we know we have a valid token, which means we'll want to get the username. And our logged in user set that to username. Oh, this needs to be an async. I'll show you why in a minute. Because we need to do that ping, right?
Mhm.
And afterwards, we need to check to see if we're logged in. So now we theoretically would have the token somewhere we can get to it anytime we need it. We're at 57. So what happens here is we get the token. If we have a token, we want to, it would be a get, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a get.
And it's going to be something like API/auth/
I called it. I mean, it can be whatever we want. It's called test auth right now.
all lower. Just
The
like
A
that?
is uppercase. Yeah.
So we ping that with the token attached. It's going to come back true or false. If it comes back false, we're not logged in. Right?
So right now I think it sends back an error if it's not logged in.
Okay. Whichever way. I mean, we grab a try catch. That would make
Right.
sense.
Yeah. Okay.
If it comes back successful, we pull the username and store it. We don't even need to get that from the back end. We need an interceptor that'll watch and grab the token and dump it in anytime we need it.
Nice. I was able to use the interceptor on my own project last
Nice.
week. So
Cool. So I am going to stash all this as, I just want to see if things were working, and we're actually doing really damn good. I'm going to replace. Nope. There we go. So what we started on here really is this. That one, 28. Right?
Yeah, yep.
And so part of what we want to put in here too is, so this is ping, verify, token, retain, logged in information. And then we need interceptor, patch, token. The only one that bugs me is how are we watching the return on their API calls to see if the token's invalid and logging out? Because at the end of that hour, we need to say, hey, you're logged out.
So you want to have it like the front end pings the back end every so often, or just if they try and do an action, they get an unauthorized error and they're logged out?
See, that's where I think we need to kind of think about our logic there, because I'm wondering if maybe we trigger the logout through the interceptor, because it's intercepting the outgoing and incoming calls, and if we get an error of unauthorized, we just initiate the logout process.
Okay.
Right? It's not quite as straightforward as that, because we have to pass things to components and things like that, but what it might be is right now we've set up our, well, it's not even in here. Well, yeah, it's in the header API service. We've set this up as just a variable, and after the right process, we update it. Well, what if we change this to an observable, so that our interceptor can actually be connected to the login modal or the headers API service? And if it sees that you're logged out, it updates that, which then updates the component that's watching. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Whereas that's a straight variable. If we just change it there, there's nothing to tell the header that's watching. There's nothing to tell the header that it changed.
Okay.
That's what an observable is able to do. Right?
Okay, yeah. It's like a little bit like React state, but not really.
Yeah, similar. Okay, so we need to handle logout. Logout due to expired token. Okay, so that's HTTP AT28. So let's create a new branch. That was a great branch name, and we'll bring all our changes over. Make sure all my files are saved. Close out our terminals. And paste. Login, log. So we're not quite finished with it, but I think that's a good start, right?
Yep.
So that's in dev. Yep. So again, we'll take a break for 3 to 4 weeks. I'll send an email to everybody now, and we'll send a new one out and or post on social media that we're going to start up when we start up again and see, if we're going to readjust that crew. Okay.
Perfect.
And I'm going to stop recording. This might take a day or two for me to get this recording out because I got to blur those sections, and it's not difficult to do, but I want to make sure I don't miss something. All right.
Yep.